Yo, this is Metaphor, back for more to kick the raw, representing everyone's you and I verse. I'm going to do a video, Virgo in the 8th house, which is Aquarius rising series, right? And Virgo in the 8th house, which is mutable earth, being adaptable to other people's logic and other ways of thinking, right? Very communicative sign. Yep, and the 8th house is behind the scenes, secrets, and sacred matters. And this Aquarius rising is fixed air, being consistent or stubborn upon their own way of communicating or thinking. And with this rising sign, one could be seen as very intellectual, or maybe stuck up with their intellectual abilities. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, we could go into depth with that, but that's like more of a 11th house video. We're communicating in the 11th house, maybe a 7th house video or something. But yeah, the Virgo in the 8th house will be behind the scenes of the details, the health, the critical nature, putting things on a day-to-day basis schedule, like a routine and pattern. So it's like you're going to be seeing other people's ways of creating logic and practicality, right, with the way that they transform themselves, right? And you know, the way they that's okay, just to, like, you know, bring that statement full circle, the way they transform themselves, saying behind the scenes nature is usually a transformative circumstances, because no one else is seeing them, but you're aware of them, and you don't always externalize these aspects, right? So it's like a behind the scenes routine and detail and critique. So you can look at other people's ways of dealing with their health, right, and their critique and their way of bringing the communicative nature and the practicality of an earth sign into this 8th house, right? It actually pretty, I think it do pretty well here. I mean, I think it does pretty well here. You see what I'm saying? Because Virgo is a sextile with Scorpio, right? And the 6th house is a sextile with the 8th house, right? And I always, well, not always, but for some of my videos, I break down a sextile and a trine to kind of give you a little breakdown of how you could work these aspects in your chart, right? Whenever you're putting these things that are critique, these things that you critique, I mean to say, and these things that are critical, and like you, the nitty gritty aspects of things, that's how you transform. So you see other people's ways of getting down to the real life circumstances of something. So one way I could explain this, it's kind of difficult to explain Virgo sometimes, but one way you could explain Virgo is its opposition as Pisces. Pisces is very magical, kind of just out of the ordinary, right? They're gonna be able to adapt to people's emotions, see, because it's mutable water. So instead of practicalizing their own way of thinking with the earth, right, they're going to practicalize everybody's emotions. Well, not practicalize, they're going to be able to adapt. That's what I mean to say. They're with Virgo, it's a practicalization of people's thoughts and logic, right, because it's mutable earth. But with water, it's being able to adapt and to other people's ways of emotions, and kind of like blend in, right? So you're more focused on your way of thinking about something and doing what's practical to you with Virgo here, right? So you want to look at other people's ways of really getting their own schedule and their own detailed nature about it. So, you know, Aquarius is like I said, one of the most intelligent signs in all my videos. Aquarius is, like any Aquarius placement is like puts a smile on my face. It's just seventh house to me. You see what I'm saying? One way I like to look at the eighth house is actually after the seventh house, you've kind of dealt your goods, so to speak, and you know, in the eighth house now, you're gonna be seeing, okay, how could I do? I mean, how could I have new ways of going about how I actually got these behind the scenes natures, and it's like opposite of the second house, those values in the second house, and those ways that you do things regardless. This is going to be that emotion that you feel that's like, okay, I did it this way, and I had these certain aspects that I was dealing with, and now I want to deal with new aspects, right? That's just that eighth house behind the scenes nature, transformation. So it's like sixth house. I mean, sixth house Virgo, aka Virgo. You see what I'm saying? Is the harvest. So it's like new ways of looking at the ways of harvesting. Is a good way to put it. And your sixth house would be Cancer in your sixth house. Just to be sure, you got Virgo in the eighth, and then you'd have Leo in the seventh, and Cancer in the sixth. So Cancer in the sixth is that, like we're saying, Virgo is that practicalization of the thoughts and logicality of others. I don't know if that's a real word. Logistics of others, you could put it that way. Make it a real word. And this would be an emotion. So you'd be initiating creating a new emotion upon how you go about your schedule and your nitty-gritty details, critiques, health, critical natures, things like that, right? And then your other sextile would be your 10th house, which would be your status. And that would be, you move two houses, so you'd have Virgo in the 8th, and then you'd have Libra in the 7th, and then you'd have Scorpio in the 10th. So Scorpio in the 10th would be a status of, I like to look at Scorpio as this Martian energy, right? That deep, dark behind the scenes, but it's like, it could be a healing behind the scenes nature because it's only addressing what's necessary. So it's like be forthcoming with your emotion, but don't be so stubborn about expressing it, and allow it to happen. You see what I'm saying? So it's like Aquarius is going to speak regardless, but make sure that you speak about necessary topics and those true emotions about what you truly feel, in the heart of hearts kind of thing. It's like Cancer's the heart, but it's like we got a whole bunch of different organs that got kind of a mind of their own. You can take that many different places with that statement, but you just want to make sure that you deal with the conversations and the blueprints that you want to actually present for others, even after you've been passed on, and also for people to see while you're on your journey. So yeah, those are just sextiles. I could do the trines, but this is already almost a 10-minute video from what I'm seeing. And much love to y'all, and appreciate you.